Holy smokers, well, if you didn't hear the big news today, it's in regards to Tesla. Tesla acquires ultra capacitor and battery manufacturer for over $200 million, to be exact, around $218 million. A lot of people were wondering, like, should Tesla be spending this much money off that balance sheet? Well, they're actually not spending cash to acquire this company. They're actually issuing shares. So I want to talk about this Maxwell company and kind of explain what their business model is, and I explain a little bit about their background. And then I want to give you the two core reasons I believe Elon Musk went ahead and acquired this company. I believe there are two very strategic reasons, all right? Now, first off, this Maxwell company, congrats to anybody that owned this stock. It is up around 50% today, guys. Like, if you happen to own that stock, like, congrats to you, because you are probably doing very, very good on those shares, needless to say. The acquisition is supposed to close around $4.75, so it's possible if you wanted to buy that stock and maybe get a little bigger gain, you could, but I'm not sure it's worth the risk, just because if it happened to not go through, obviously, that is something that could hurt you there. As far as if we look at their income statement, it's a company that pretty consistently brings in around roughly $30 million a quarter. They bring in a pretty consistent gross profit of around $6 to $7 million per quarter. But if you look at their net income, that's where it's really dragged down. It's a company that loses $8 to $9 million in net income pretty much every single quarter in and quarter out. Sometimes there are certain companies that they might have amazing technology, they might have really cool stuff and products they're working on, but there's so much more that goes into running a business successfully, actually making money on that bottom line, other than just technology. I've seen time and time again where a company will have really cool technology, like super futuristic stuff they're working on or whatever, but they cannot make money because they just aren't at a scalable level where they can actually use that technology, market it right, get in front of the right customers, execute on everything across the board. They just end up failing because they might have cool tech, but there's so much more that goes into running a business. So sometimes it makes sense for a company like this to say, we're just going to sell out to a bigger company who can use this tech and go ahead and get it out there to as many people as possible and build the business that way, instead of just continue to lose money and never really getting it to that level. Okay, Maxwell had been looking for someone to buy them for quite a while. All right, now there are some mega trends that this company was trying to execute on. Two of the trends, I don't know, they're almost like the same thing. Okay, so renewable power generation in the grid, obviously battery packs and batteries in general, that's a huge trend that's going in the future. You're actually using energy from either solar or using energy from wind products or a lot of different things, right? And then storing that in batteries and actually using that on the grid. And then also, obviously, the rapid growth in battery electric vehicles is a major growth vector for any battery companies out there, especially ones that are very focused on it. If we look at this, they had around a $1.35 billion opportunity in energy storage. And then obviously batteries in general for electric vehicles, that's a multi-billion-dollar opportunity. But a company like Maxwell, it was so small and so niche that although they might have really good technology, it's really hard to scale up and take advantage of those type of opportunities. So you could have said, well, they should have just stayed, as a public company and maybe try to make it. Yeah, sometimes you try to make it and you might end up failing as a company, like this company was kind of doing. Like they couldn't make money on the bottom line. It just wasn't possible. They needed to tuck in with somebody else, okay? And if you look here, they had a big design win recently with Volvo. That was a huge opportunity for them. They were also talking about multiple large-scale design wins on the horizon. So that is very exciting things. Of course, who knows if they would have actually executed on those or not. But needless to say, electric vehicles was a huge opportunity for their batteries. They're talking about 15 million to 30 million electric vehicles forecasted by 2030. I think the number is probably going to be very accurate. If we look at lithium-ion battery capacity by 2030, it's just going up exponentially. They had patented breakthrough dry battery electrode technology to capitalize on the coming mega trend in the future. So the question is, there's got to be, some reasons on why Elon Musk will go ahead and make an acquisition like this. Although he's not spending, Tesla's cash on this, he is basically giving away Tesla stock to make this acquisition for over $200 million. And a lot has been speculated out there around this, why, they would go ahead and make an acquisition like this. In my opinion, there are two core reasons. The first one is around cost. I think this company will help Tesla over time bring the cost of batteries down. Tesla's very, very focused on bringing that cost of batteries down. And the reason is this is such a big thing to see who actually wins the electric future as far as electric cars. But not just that, to make electric cars to a point where you can start selling $20,000, $30,000 electric vehicles and actually make money on those, actually make a profit. No different than car makers right now can sell a $20,000 ICE vehicle or a $30,000 ICE vehicle and still make a decent profit on that. The electric guys are saying, hey, hey man, if we're going to get to the scale where everybody has electric cars out there around the world over the next decade or two, we're going to have to make it where electric cars can be sold in that $20,000 and $30,000 range, and we can't lose money on that. We still need to make money at the end of the day, just like the ICE guys can sell a $20,000 or $30,000 vehicle and actually make a profit on that. And to explain how big the difference in cost can be with something like this, let's say there's just a $1,000 difference between what one company uses for battery technology versus another company, okay? Let's say that company moves around 1 million units per year, which by the way, I think Tesla long term will be moving way more than 1 million units a year. But let's say just 1 million units a year and the difference is $1,000. That's $1 billion difference that goes straight to the bottom line, okay? We're talking about $1 billion difference that's basically going straight to the bottom line, and we're talking about a massive cost advantage. Now, $1,000 can be, just a slight difference. In my opinion, there could end up being $3,000 to $5,000 differences between, different car companies that are using battery technology. We're talking about massive differences in what you can actually, basically get from customers to actually pay for that car and how much actually can go down to that net income line. It can be a major, major difference. So in my opinion, one of the big reasons Elon went ahead and made this decision was, we got to bring the cost of batteries even lower and lower, because we're talking about so much more money can go to that bottom line, which that money can go ahead and be used on research and development to make even cheaper and cheaper batteries in the future and just, make better and better cars, use that money for marketing, anything across the board. That's a big thing, okay? That's reason number one. I think that's a big thing. Reason number two is around iOS and Android. Now, how does this make any sense, okay? Well, essentially for smartphones, right, there are two main operating systems that almost every single person in the world uses one of two operating systems. They either have iPhones and they use iOS, or they have, an Android phone of some kind. It could have been made by Huawei or Samsung or Xiaomi or whoever, okay? But basically almost every single person that has a smartphone is using one of those operating systems. I think Tesla's in a position here where they can say, hey, you know what? We can be iOS and Android. How do we go ahead and do this? Well, we have Tesla vehicles, which are our proprietary vehicles that, everything that we basically manufacture goes into that, right? And that's our vehicle, right? But if somebody doesn't want to buy a Tesla, what if they're still using our batteries at the end of the day? What if they're buying from any of the other car brands out there, okay? What if they want a Chevy or an Acura or a BMW or an Audi or a Volvo or a Honda or any of these different vehicles that are all going to be electrified in the future, right? What if Tesla can be the one that's actually manufacturing all the batteries that go into those cars? So essentially Tesla would benefit not only by if you actually buy a Tesla car, but if you buy any car, because they got the cheapest batteries, the best batteries, the most reliable batteries, and in the long run, every car manufacturer could end up using Tesla batteries if they win in that game, because there could be such a cost advantage and such a branding advantage to use Tesla batteries. This is something that is very big. It would put Tesla in a position where they're literally like everybody's, if no matter what car you buy, you probably got a Tesla product in there, as in the Tesla batteries, okay? That is a very big thing. Imagine the cash flow Tesla could have if they're selling, 1 million to 2 million Teslas a year, which I think is very doable within 5 to 10 years. And then also every single other car out there that's being sold has Tesla batteries, or almost every single car. Imagine the cash flow that Tesla could be generating at that time. This is how you get Tesla to a, $100 billion company, a $500 billion company, a $750 billion company by getting to that type of scale, okay? Now, real quick here, I just showed you that chart. In my opinion, by 2030, 3/4 of those car brands I just showed you will actually be out of business, okay? They'll be non-existent. Over the next decade, there's gonna be mass consolidation, in my opinion, of the car brands. You're gonna get down to just a few big brands out there that pretty much everybody owns. And if you're looking at this at even a longer term perspective, I think there's probably gonna only be like 3 or 4 big car brands out there, and everything else is gonna be non-existent. Kind of like nowadays, if you look at smartphones, there are 2 big dogs in the game. There's Apple and there's Samsung, and then there's kind of like everybody else, right? There's Huawei and Xiaomi, and there's a couple of, a few smaller players, but essentially most people out there either have an iPhone or they have a Galaxy device of some kind of Samsung, right? And so I think that's gonna end up happening with cars over time, and this is just a massive opportunity for Tesla, right? Now let's go on to my favorite app and see what they think about this Tesla acquisition, okay? Oh, good fit with Tesla, another money-losing company. Oh man, that doesn't surprise me that somebody would take that as a negative. The way I look at this as a Tesla shareholder, I definitely approve of this acquisition, especially if it works out over the long term, which, I think it will work out over the long term. But if Tesla was acquiring this company with cash and not with stock, I would say, no, it's not worth it at this particular time, because Tesla has a lot of things going for it. It's probably gonna have to make that $920 million payment. And if they had to part with $200+ million off the balance sheet, I'd say, no, let's not do that right now. Now's not the time. But the fact that they can make an acquisition with like this with just stock, in my opinion, is full go. It's totally worth it in the long run to take a risk out there to acquire a company that could be a potential game changer as far as cost goes, and as far as helping putting Tesla in a position where they are the dominant battery manufacturer out there over, let's say, the next 10 to 20 years. That is such a big opportunity that I don't think it should be, shunned by anybody out there. So I'm all for it. I think it's totally worth it. I hope they execute it very well and they bring that company in successfully and they make it into a very successful company that can help Tesla expand over time. I think that's big, guys. So that's my opinion on the whole deal. Make sure you follow me on Instagram if you have not already. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.